It was a chilly autumn evening, the kind where the wind seems to whisper through the trees, and every breath feels sharp against your cheeks. Emma was driving home from work, her mind heavy with the day's stress. The streets were quiet, save for the occasional car passing by. And then, she saw a man standing on the side of the road, shivering under the dim glow of a streetlight. Something about him made her heart tighten, a mix of curiosity and worry. Most people might have glanced and kept driving, lost in their own world, but Emma felt a tug she couldn't ignore. She slowed down, rolled the window down slightly, and called out, "Hey, are you okay?" The man looked up, his eyes tired but cautious. That moment, that brief connection, would set off a chain of events neither of them could have imagined. One simple act, one decision to stop, was about to change not just their lives, but touch thousands of people across the country. Before we dive into the story, don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, hit the like button, and leave a comment sharing your own experiences with kindness. Your small gestures matter more than you think, and together, we can spread more light in the world. Emma parked a few feet away and stepped out, careful not to startle the man. He was middle-aged, with worn-out clothes and a small, tattered backpack. It was clear he'd been on the streets for some time. Emma's first instinct was to offer help, but she also wanted to respect his space. "Hi, I'm Emma. Are you hungry? Cold? Do you need a ride somewhere?" she asked gently. The man hesitated, his hands nervously fumbling with the straps of his backpack. Then he spoke in a quiet, almost hesitant voice, I don't want trouble. Just trying to get by." There was a fragility in his words that struck Emma to the core. She smiled softly, trying to convey warmth and trust. "You're not causing any trouble. I just want to help. Can I buy you a coffee?" For a moment, he looked like he might refuse, but then something in her tone convinced him. "Okay," he murmured. They walked to a nearby diner, the warm glow of the interior contrasting sharply with the cold night outside. Emma ordered a cup of coffee and a slice of pie for him, and they sat across from each other in a quiet corner. As they began to talk, Emma learned his name was Tom. He had been struggling for months after losing his job and, eventually, his apartment. Like many in the U.S., he had felt invisible, ignored by a society that often turns a blind eye to hardship. He shared fragments of his story, the nights spent on cold benches, the struggle to find food, the loneliness that felt unbearable. Emma listened, her heart aching for him. At that moment, Emma realized something important. Kindness doesn't need to be grand or heroic. Sometimes, it's as simple as stopping to listen, offering a warm drink, or acknowledging someone's humanity. She offered to help Tom find a temporary shelter and gave him some cash to buy essentials. He looked at her, eyes wide with disbelief, like he couldn't believe someone genuinely cared. The next day, Emma couldn't stop thinking about Tom. She decided to share their encounter on social media, not to boast, but to highlight the importance of small acts of kindness. She posted a picture of the empty diner booth, a cup of coffee steaming in the dim light, and a caption that read, "A small act of kindness can change someone's life." Meet Tom. I stopped to offer help, and he reminded me what humanity really means. Within hours, the post began to spread. People resonated with the story, strangers commenting, sharing, and even reaching out to offer help themselves. Some shared their own experiences of being helped or helping others, creating a ripple of positivity. Tom, once invisible to the world, was suddenly part of a larger conversation about compassion and empathy. Emma continued to support him, helping him connect with a local shelter and a job program. Tom gradually regained his footing, first finding temporary work, then a more stable job, and eventually moving into his own apartment. But what mattered most wasn't just the tangible help, it was the reminder that someone had seen him, acknowledged his struggle, and cared. The story of Emma and Tom didn't just stay online. local news outlets picked it up, calling it a heartwarming example of everyday heroism. People across the country were inspired to stop and help strangers, to offer a smile, a meal, or even just a listening ear. It became a symbol of how kindness, no matter how small, can ripple outward in unexpected and powerful ways. Tom himself was amazed by the response. He often said in interviews, "I didn't think anyone would care. I was just another face on the street. But one person's simple act reminded me that I matter." And Emma, reflecting on the experience, realized that her own life had been transformed as well. She learned that kindness isn't a burden, it's a gift that enriches both the giver and the receiver. What made this story so compelling wasn't a grand gesture of wealth or fame. It was ordinary human compassion, a moment of noticing someone else's pain and acting. In a world where negativity often dominates the headlines, Emma's story was a reminder that there's still light and that light begins with small, intentional acts. Over time, Emma started a local initiative through her community to support people experiencing homelessness. She called it the Ripple Project, inspired by the viral story of her encounter with Tom. Volunteers organized warm meals, clothing drives, and mentorship programs. Every time someone asked why she started it, she would say, "It started with a cup of coffee." That's all it takes: one act, one decision, one moment of noticing someone else. Meanwhile, Tom, now settled into his new life, became an advocate himself. He spoke at community centers about resilience, the importance of accepting help, and the power of small gestures. He often told people, "It's not about charity. It's about connection. Someone noticing you, acknowledging your humanity, and saying, 'You're not invisible.' That's the real gift." The story went viral for another reason: it tapped into something deep within people's hearts. Many viewers reflected on their own lives and realized how many opportunities they'd missed to offer kindness, to slow down, and to help someone in need. Some were moved to reach out to neighbors, coworkers, or strangers, and in that way, Emma's one decision had created a domino effect of compassion. Emma and Tom stayed in touch long after the story faded from social media. Their bond was a testament to the idea that kindness isn't a transaction, it's a bridge between people, a thread of humanity that can carry hope across even the loneliest of nights. And as the years went on, the story of the diner, the coffee, and the quiet conversation became something of a legend in their town, a reminder that no one is too small to make a big difference. We often hear that the world is harsh, unfair, and indifferent. And sometimes, it is. But stories like Emma's remind us that we also have the power to counter that harshness with compassion. We don't need grand gestures or viral moments to make an impact. Every smile, every helping hand, every small acknowledgement of another person's struggle has the potential to create ripples that extend far beyond what we can see. So, the next time you see someone in need, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, or a complete stranger, remember Emma and Tom. Remember that stopping for a moment, offering your time, your attention, or a simple act of kindness can change the course of someone's life. And who knows? Maybe your one act of kindness could inspire thousands more. Just like Emma's did, kindness is contagious. It doesn't require fame, money, or status. It only requires noticing, caring, and acting. And in a world that sometimes feels divided and cold, those moments of warmth can make all the difference. As you go about your day, think about what small act of kindness you can offer. Maybe it's holding the door, buying someone a coffee, sending a supportive message, or just taking a moment to listen. These gestures might seem tiny, but to someone else, they could mean everything. Emma's story teaches us that kindness doesn't need an audience, but it often finds one. And when it does, it has the power to ripple across the world, inspiring countless others to do the same. One cup of coffee, one moment of attention, one decision to stop and care, that's all it takes. So, wherever you are, whoever you encounter, remember this: you have the power to change someone's day, or even their life, with a simple act of kindness. And maybe, just maybe, your story will go viral too, not for fame, but for spreading light in a world that needs it more than ever.